Horror Nights presents 3 true, scary school lockdown horror stories. Number 3. The Dunbar High School Killings. On January 29, 2003, Dunbar High School in Washington, D.C. was practicing a school lockdown. Once the lockdown drill started, the students and teachers hid under their desks, but after 10 minutes, they were restless. After 15 minutes, there was still no announcement that the drill was over, so some teachers just turned the lights back on and went back to teaching. However, one teacher decided to see what was going on, so she walked towards the main office, and she made a horrible discovery. One of the vice principals, 43-year-old Stacy Fields, was found murdered in the hallway. Her throat had been slashed so deeply that she was nearly decapitated. Sadly, the other 2 vice principals and the principal were all found dead in different hallways of the school. They had all been stabbed or hacked to death. The police were called and they reviewed the CCTV footage. When they watched it, they saw 4 figures dressed in black come out of hiding. For example, one was hiding in the janitor's closet, and another one of them was in the washroom. Now, out from their hiding places, they separately stalked the 3 vice principals and the principal and attacked them all from behind. All of them had different weapons, which included a hunting knife, a hatchet, a machete, and a samurai sword. The killers weren't hard to track down, but what was hard was coming to terms with who the murderers were. It was 4 grade 9 students, 3 boys and 1 girl. They had planned it out in the weeks leading up to the massacre and even bragged about their plans on Facebook to other students. So while other students knew about the plans to kill the school staff, none of them alerted the police or the school. In fact, some of them even encouraged the 4 students to go through with the killings. The final sad elements in the story are that after the murders happened, a small number of students wrote congratulatory messages on the killers' walls, and a few even posted selfies of themselves at the murder scenes. The 4 murderers were ordered to stay in a juvenile facility where they served 4 years, and then they were released at the age of 18 with clean records. Number 2. The West High School Lockdown. On March 4, 2010, at West High School in Anchorage, Alaska, a masked man with a handgun and a large knife was seen walking down the hallway by a student. The student went to the office and told the principal. The principal got on the PA system and said the secret code that got the teachers to quietly turn off the lights and lock the doors. The police were also called, and they arrived about 5 minutes later. The police scoped out the school, but there didn't seem to be any activity. Had it not been 11 a.m. on a weekday, the cops would have assumed the school was closed. However, before they were able to enter, they heard the school's fire alarm go off. During lockdown drills, the students learned that if the fire alarm goes off during a lockdown, they are to flee because there actually might be a fire or a bomb. So the students started to file out of their classrooms. However, for students entering in one hallway, they encountered a man dressed in a long black pea coat and ski mask, pointing a gun in their direction. He then smiled and started firing into the mass of students. The students ran in the opposite direction of the shooter, and when the first couple of students got to the end of the hallway, they fell backwards like they had hit an invisible wall. As they laid on the ground, they grabbed their throats, which were cut and were bleeding profusely. The students who were immediately behind them saw what happened and stopped running. Someone had placed a wire across the hallway at neck level. However, not everyone saw what happened, and 3 more students slammed throat first into the wire. The rest of the students managed to duck under the wire and get out of the hallway unharmed. When the students had cleared out, the police entered the building and saw the 5 students laying on the ground near the wire, which was later determined to be piano wire. Sadly, all 5 students would die as a result of their wounds. At the end of the hallway, there was a fire. As the police got close to the fire, they realized that it was the ski mask and coat that was burning. It's suspected that he blended in with the students and simply ran out with them. The police also couldn't find any bullets, so they believe that the masked man fired blanks to scare the students into running into the wire. Unfortunately, the school was not equipped with surveillance cameras, and the whereabouts of the masked man is still unknown. Number 1. The Lycee 1535 incident. The year was 1961, and schools around the world had drills in case there was some type of emergency, like the outbreak of nuclear war. One such school was Lycee 1535 in Moscow, Russia. According to old classified files, a strange, unexplained event happened there during one of those drills. The headmaster of the school said that the drill started off normally, and he locked all the doors to the school. After doing so, he walked down the halls and looked into all of the classrooms. That's when he noticed that one classroom that should have been full was empty. The class was taught by Lycee Mikhailov, and the principal had no idea where they were. So he quickly walked around the school, but Mikhailov and her 20 students were nowhere to be found. He walked back to the classroom and checked it again. He even opened the door and took a good look around, but said it was empty. He closed the door behind him when he walked out of the classroom. He said that he was about 10 feet from the classroom when he heard the sound of screaming. He ran back to the classroom, and inside, the children and their teacher were in the classroom, but they were covered in blood, guts, organs, and shards of bones. The local police were called in, and they brought in special government agents to investigate. They concluded that an unidentified 16-year-old boy had somehow exploded. In fact, some of the bone shards had to be medically extracted from the students closest to him. However, what their investigation didn't turn up was an explanation for what caused the young boy to explode. They didn't think it was spontaneous combustion because there were no signs of a fire. It was as if the boy had violently burst. The government agents asked the teacher what happened before the boy burst and where the class was when the headmaster looked into the room. The teacher swore that she and the students were in the classroom before the drill started, and they didn't leave it. However, she couldn't remember the drill starting. She said that she was teaching math, and then the next thing she remembered was a loud pop, and this was followed by the warm splash of blood and bone bits hitting her. Then suddenly everyone was screaming. The agents interviewed all the students one-on-one, and they all gave the same response. They said they didn't remember the drill starting. They said they were studying math, and then, suddenly, they were hit with the blood and guts of their classmate. The government agents ordered the students and staff not to talk about the incident. At the time, they thought that the exploding boy may have been caused by some American weapon. But today, they're not sure because no weapon like that has ever been developed. Also, the weapon doesn't explain where the students went before the drill and why they had about a 5-minute gap in their memory. Today, the Lycee 1535 incident remains one of the most unusual mysteries from Cold War Russia. Subscribe for more.